Hello everybody, K-Whip here, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Trials. And this week of Trials, the map is Exodus Blue. And to get into my weapon suggestions, like most maps, you can make a shotgun, sniper rifle, or fusion rifle work on this map. However, the one that I found to be the most effective was fusion rifling, specifically with the Bastion. And I found this to be a very dominant option. Most of the teams that you're going to go up against are pretty shotgun heavy, and I found that I was able to outplay shotgunners fairly consistently, just always keeping them just outside of one-shot range, and making sure to pre-charge and use cover effectively with the Bastion. And as you'll see in the clips, I take out many opponents doing so. So for me personally, that was probably the most effective type of weapon to use in my playing. However, shotguns can also do quite well and are probably better in certain scenarios, like if you are in the underground area by heavy, and also if you are by the B flag area. Now, for what you should pair with a shotgun or a fusion rifle, I would recommend a 600 RPM auto rifle, because they are the best guns in the game right now, and that will cover your mid-range very well. Most of the engagements you are going to get in, if they are not close range, are going to be mid-range. And it's pretty easy to not challenge the long-range engagements that are possible on this map if you just decide to avoid those. And in my opinion, it's not worth it to throw on a pulse or a scout rifle to try to be able to challenge in those long-range engagements, because you're still probably going to be at a disadvantage if you're going up against something like a sniper rifle. And it's not worth it to harm your mid-range fights just to try to be able to challenge from those longer ranges from time to time. Now for my snipers, I would actually recommend not using a 600 RPM auto, even though that's still a pretty good decision if you end up going that route. But I would recommend using something that has a little bit better close range capabilities, like a sidearm or a last word. Because as I previously mentioned, I'm seeing mostly shotgunners in my games, and I think that's a trend that will continue. So I would recommend having a close range option on this map, and being able to melt people that are pushing you and have some nice mid-air accuracy will be great with these weapons. Now for some subclass suggestions, starting out with Hunters, I think that Middle Tree Arc Staff is going to be your best option, because the map is pretty condensed, so it's not too difficult to catch up to people and take people out with your super. And also, if teammates go down, you can just get a res by deflecting, or if other people pop supers against you, you can also deflect those, as you'll see me do a couple times in this video. And the super is just downright broken for trials, so if you're really trying to do well, it makes sense to go with it. Other good options would include Night Stalker for this map as well, I think. Gunslinger, not going to be the greatest map for, because like I said, the map is a little bit more condensed and not as wide open where you can have long lines of sight to pick up kills with Goldie. Then for Titans, I would say that Sentinel and Striker are probably your best options. I think that overall they have a little bit better neutral game than Sunbreaker does. And in a map like this, it's not too difficult to land suppressor nades on supers, because there's kind of a lot of corridors and openings that you can predict people coming out of. And then Thunder Crash is always an elite option for trials. But personally, I was running Sentinel for this map. Then for Warlocks, I think your best option is going to be Stormcaller, because, as I've said a couple times, it's really close quarters. There's not as much space to get up into the air and fly around with Dawnblade, so that's not going to be the greatest option if you're over by the C flag area opposite of Heavy. And that's where a lot of people have been staying most of the matches I've been playing. So in my opinion, Stormcaller is going to be the best option for you, with Nova Bomb being a good option too, and Dawnblade isn't bad or anything, it's just not the ideal map for it. Now for the heavy ammo, it spawns on this outer edge of the map, and in my opinion, one side has the much more favorable position for heavy ammo, and it's this side I'm showing you right here, because you kind of have 4 ways that you can get to heavy. You can go far left on the pipes and be able to hard scope the stairway that the other spawn can come through if you're sniping. You can also watch on this tanker that I'm on right in this clip. You can just go down through the normal stairway, or you can go to the right through the underground passageway. And so what I would recommend for this, if you have snipers on your team, go to the far left or on the tanker and watch the opposite stairwell, and then have the other people on your team go either underneath or just near the heavy ammo so they can pick it up and establish control over that position. And then just be wary that people don't flank behind you. Now on the other side of heavy, there's kind of 2 ways that I like to play it. I either go immediately underneath and see if I can get a pick if I'm using something like a Bastion or a shotgun. If not, it's not a bad idea to flank as a team and try to come from behind them, but you have to make sure to do this fast so they can't get heavy easily. And this is a pretty good strategy because if you just try to go to heavy using the routes kind of given to you, there's the underground passageway or the stairway to your right, and the stairway to the right is very easily watched and kind of a death trap, and the underground passageway can be kind of the same. So a group flank and trying to get behind them I think is a pretty good decision. Other than that, here is where the cap point spawns, right on top of where B flag would be. And let's all just take a moment to recognize how ridiculous this arc staff kill that I pick up is here. And if you want to hear me talk about the balancing of these supers and how they are completely unbalanced, feel free to look at my last video before this, which will be recommended at the end of this video, because I think these supers desperately need change. Anyway, last little general tips that I have. Be careful where you are challenging on the C flag side of the map, especially if you are on the tunnel side, because you can be sniped from tunnel pretty easily. They can actually see basically from their spawn into tunnel. So if they have someone hardscoping that immediately at the start of the round, they can easily get a pick on you if you're trying to cross over. So just be very wary of when you're visible from tunnel. And then also be aware that there's some cheeky spots over by heavy where you can snipe through, some spaces by the staircase that I recommend you don't go by, and also that you can get up on top of that one tankard and shoot through some areas through that as well. And then the last thing to mention is just that a lot of people are going to the C flag side that are heavy shotgunners and that just kind of want to emote camp and get supers. So if you inspect the people you're going up against and see that they're running that, I would recommend just meeting them head on over at C flag side, because you kind of just want to take the gunfights you can get together and not let them just try to camp things out and play the super game. And that's going to be everything I have to say for this video. If you're watching it recently after it's released, I am probably streaming on Twitch, doing trials with viewers, so if you want to play with me, feel free to look at the description and click on my Twitch link. And I do trials with viewers every weekend there. The schedule is in the description of the video as well. So if you want to play with me, it's completely free and just about always a good time. So be sure to do that if you're interested. Thank you for watching the video, and see you later.